Hello and welcome to highlights of the Formula SimRacing World Championship for 2020, here for the final race of the season and the Brazilian Grand Prix. Today we'll take 71 laps around the really tricky Sao Paulo Grand Prix circuit. It looks quite short, but there are a lot of corners, mostly slow speed. It'll be quite difficult to set up the car. Then also you have the massive long run up to the start finish line, which means you can't always run a completely high downforce circuit. It does feature 2 DRS zones as well, so we should see plenty of action and overtaking. The Drivers' Championship might be over, but the Constructors is still hotting up. And the grid opens up with Peter Burlak taking pole position by over 1/10 of a second to Jernej Simoncic, which is quite surprising considering Peter has mostly been slower than Jernej in qualifying this season. Sander Kallas getting a strong P3 with Mohamed Patel in P4. Philip Kraus has just won the Pro Championship and has moved up as a reserve again into HM Engineering Yellow, who get 2 HM cars in the top 5, so it looks like it could be a good race for them as well. Mitch Hoyer is down in 8th, Dennis Jordan is in 11th, Alex Siebel is in 14th. That is not going to be good, with Evolution Motorsports trying to win that Constructors title ahead of Burst Ryotaro and Burst Simplexity. As always with the final race of the season, there are a few reserves and most of them are looking pretty strong. Kraus in P5, Noah Roivers in 12th place, Jeffrey Fournier making his return in 16th, as well as Rodger and Martin from the back of the field. Now the lights come on for the final race of the season. Who's going to get the better launch down into turn number 1? The first lap is generally quite tricky here with all of the cars so close together in such a tight track, and it looks like Simoncic is going to try and battle here with Petter through turn 1 and 2, and Jernej's managed to get his car in a good position. They're still side by side as they come all the way down this back straight. And Mohamed Patel now is trying to slipstream with Jernej Simoncic and might be able to get Peter Burlak, and he does. So Petter loses 2 positions there in the space of the first sector, with Kallas following just behind. Here's a replay of Michi Hoyer. Started a little bit further down than he would like, considering they're trying to win the Constructors title with him and David Mocek. But he has a very good start, diving up the inside and getting himself up into 5th place. We now got Phil Kraus coming on the back of Jim Paresis, hot off his win in the Pro Championship earlier, not only for the race but also the driver's title, and he now gets past Jim Paresis there, so looking pretty good on the first couple of laps here. Michi Hoyer now going side by side with Sander Kallas and makes up into 4th position, so this is a really good start for Hoyer, and now be some good points if he can finish there later on, and we could potentially be crowning them the Constructors champion. Now got Craig Baxter sending it down the inside of Jim Paresis, and then in turn 2, tiny bit of contact as they get past the apex, but Baxter there manages to hold on to that position as they now come up the hill into turn 6 and 7. Jim Paresis is going to send it down the inside all over the curb, bit of contact, manages to save it, but that is really not an easy overtaking opportunity. Yordis Veers now coming out of turn 2 into turn 3, but he gets all over the curb, gets it swapped the wrong way, and will end his season in the barrier. As we haven't mentioned yet, but Singularity has changed to Defiance Racing for this race, which is why they are in purple. As Paresis once again tries to go side by side in turn 6, but once again it also doesn't work as he goes wide. Simoncic is the first one to make a pit stop on lap 13, which was quite a bit earlier than everyone expected, so this could potentially be a 3-stop strategy, which we haven't really seen too much of this season, but we'll have to see how that one works out for him. He was leading the race fairly comfortably. Tom sadly goes for a bit of a spin coming towards the end of Sector 2, and he will have to try and rejoin the race, which he does so, but he will eventually retire. A couple of laps later, Peter Burlak misses his pit box as the concrete there is really slippery, and he will have to now come out a couple of seconds behind from where he would have been, and he rejoins behind a couple of people, although Jim Paresis goes for a bit of a spin there coming around turn 8 and 9, and he goes for a spin again as he overheated those rear tyres. Had to get out of the way there of a couple of those drivers who are on the alternate strategy. Simicic now coming up behind Alex Siebel, who's staying out really long on those medium compound tyres, trying to get himself in a good position to try and get Evolution winning this Constructors' Championship. But it is going to be very difficult with 3 teams fighting for it. Dennis Jordan is now fighting all the way in the midfield, already making his position. Now got Michi Hoyer on Cameron Rodger. Michi trying to get past this traffic. Vandeny and Rodger still out on the hard compound tyres. And Hoyer's now trying to get past Rodger, but Rodger also doesn't want to lose time. And he's going to have to dive it down the inside of Vandeny to effectively defend from Hoyer. And he does so. And Hoyer's now getting held up a little bit here in the midfield. Dennis Jordan now sends it down the inside of Sander Callas. Getting really awkward here with all these trade of cars stuck behind the guys staying out. As we now have Kraus trying to pass Hoyer for 4th position. This would be an awesome move if he can make it stick, and he does. So the Pro Champion looking very good in this WC race. Now is Brakshock the only driver to finish in the points every race so far this season. Gets past Robin Panzar to get himself back into 10th place. And in that points paying position. Lap 35. And already Simicic is coming in for a second time. We're not even halfway through the race just yet, with it being 71 laps. So this looks like it's going to be a 3-stop strategy. And what can he do? A couple laps later, he's out and he's getting past Michi Hoyer. Moves like this could be crucial in the Constructors' battle, because despite there being 2 burst teams, they are fighting against each other. And Hoyer definitely wants to win this Constructors' battle. As he now gets past Philip Kraus as well. So he'll have some clean air to try and catch back up to Patel and Burlak. Lap 40, Panzar trying to go around the outside of David Mocek, really late on the brakes. And if he holds this, he will have the inside to turn number 2. Is there going to be enough space? Yes, there just about is, but couldn't get the exit. Wiggles a bit through turn 3 as well, so he's going to have to use the DRS, potentially a bit the quali boost as well. He's going to have to go round the outside, braking as late as he can into turn number 4. Bit of contact though. Brakshock gets sent across the inside curb. Fortunately, doesn't make contact with anyone on the exit, but that is certainly not ideal. As Hoyer there comes into the pit lane, as well as Dennis Jordan on lap 41. Now coming into turn number 4, we've got this big battle here. They're going to go 3 wide into turn number 5. Brakshock and Callas, as well as Robin Panzer, I think, as well, getting involved with that. Brakshock's going to lose his front wheel, which means he will not be getting points every single race this season, which means no driver in the World Championship will have scored points in every race this season, which is quite an interesting fact. And a bit of a sad way for him to finish his season, as well as his last race with Ghostspeed, because he has announced that he will be leaving Ghostspeed and joining a new team for 2021. So we will find that out in the near future. So we've now got David Mocek trying to get past Dennis Jordan up the inside for turn 6. Dennis is going to leave it just about enough for him, but not enough for David to get past there into turn 6 and 7. And this is for the Constructors' battle, remember, so that is why they are fighting so hard between Evolution and Burst Simplexity. We now have an engine blow there, and that is really not what you want to do. Lap 48, Callas blows his engine, and that will be his season over as well. Peter Balak now getting past Alex Siebel on those hard compound tyres. He dropped off a little bit with losing that time in the pit stop. So it's actually Patel that is leading the challenge against Jerne Simicic. Simicic comes in for his 3-stop as we expected on lap 58. Siebel comes also out on the soft compound tyres. So this means Simicic and Siebel are going to be very fast to the end of this race with only 13 laps to go. And Patel now has to lead the race with Simicic catching him down. Martin now on the back of Thomas Vac, but misjudges his braking, sends Vac into the wall. And that will be both drivers out of the race. And their seasons are done. Sieber now on the inside of Jeffrey Fournier. Fairly easy for him. He's just got so much more grip on the soft compound tyres. So now Simicic gets past Peter Burlak fairly comfortably as well. Now it must be noted that Simicic was able to do this because that big train at the beginning when Hoyer was getting held up, let the top 3 get away so much. Simičić had a free pit stop. As now Siebel is trying to get past David Mocek, which is good, because now the 2 Evolutions are ahead of Mocek, which is amazing for the constructors. However, Jordan is starting to struggle on his tyres, and they're going to have to try and tactically let Siebel through here without letting Mocek through, because Jordan needs to hold Mocek behind if they want to win this constructors battle. Fournier is trying to get involved now as well, as Dennis Jordan's really starting to struggle as David Mocek gets through. And now Fournier is going to put Dennis down another position, and this could be that championship lost for Evolution Motorsports. I can tell you it is within a matter of single points either way that could separate Burst Complexity and Evolution Motorsports. As now got Alex Siebel moving up once again, getting past Baxter this time for 6th place, so that is very good considering Siebel started down in 14th. And now Siebel's trying to get on the back of Mitch Hoyer as they come towards the end of the race. And this, once again, could be very good for Evolution Motorsports. Now got Jeffrey Fournier trying to get past Mocek. Fournier now down the inside of turn 3 into turn 4. Does he have the top speed to make it work? And that demotes Simplexity down another position. So once again, this could swing the constructors back another way. However, it is Mohammed Patel who's going to win the race. We haven't really talked about him much because he's just been out the front doing his thing on that 2-stop strategy. Jernej Simičić, even with effectively a free 3rd pit stop, couldn't catch up. And he will finish only a couple of seconds behind. Kraus now coming to line for 4th place. Can Siebel get him? This could be for the Constructors' title, but he couldn't quite get him. And that could swing Constructors' title in either direction. So I have to look at the race results to see what has happened here. So we can see Mohammed Patel won the race by only 1.8 seconds from Jernej Simičić. Couldn't quite make that up. Petar Burlak, despite being on pole position, couldn't quite do it in the race. He was a further 5.5 seconds behind, and then there was a massive gap back to Phil Kraus in 4th place. Just behind him was Alex Siebel, finishing ahead of Michi Hoyer. Then we got Craig Baxter, but looking a bit further down, David Mocek beat Dennis Jordan by 1 point. And I can tell you that that means that we crown Burst Simplexity as the Constructors' titles on count back, because both Burst Simplexity and Evolution Motorsports have 190 points. There will be no post-race penalties, and therefore these results are as they are, with Burst Simplexity and Evolution both getting 1 win. However, Burst Simplexity have more second places, which means they get that Constructors' title despite being tied on points. So had Dennis been able to keep ahead of David there in the final couple of laps, or had Siebel managed to get Kraus on the line, that could have changed things dramatically, with only Burst Toro 5 points behind. But yeah, that was a very interesting season of Formula Sim Racing, a lot shorter than previous seasons, which meant every single race counts. And unfortunately, with Petar Burlak having 2 DNFs and Simičić only having 1, that is ultimately what led to there being a 39-point gap between them. But behind them, it was fairly close. Mitch Hoyer gets 3rd in the drivers' title. Alex Siebel gets 4th in his first ever season. Dennis Jordan in 5th, so really good job there by the Evo guys to get both drivers in the top 5. David Mocek there in 6th place as well. Mohammed Patel getting 7th in the drivers, and he only did half the season, so what could he have done if he was here from the start? But that has pretty much been it here for the final race of the season. Certainly been an interesting one, but we'll just give you a quick rundown of the constructors as well. So we had Burst Simplexity leading Evolution Motorsports with Burst Toro just behind them. Edge Esports in 4th, HM Engineering Red in 5th, Ghost Speed, slightly disappointing season down there in 6th, as well as NetRex with only 32 points this season in 7th. Defiance Racing, previously known as Singularity, in 8th. 9th position was HM Engineering Yellow, 10th was Ground Effect Sim Racing, and then Ghost Speed Engineering round out the bottom of the constructors. But that will be it for this season, brought to you by SimLab, 3D Wrap and IMB Raceware. There will probably be racing before Christmas as well, so do look out for that. And then obviously the 2021 season will start at some point in the first quarter of 2021. So until then, until the future, we will wish you a very warm goodbye, and we look forward to seeing you at a race very soon.